Hello, everyone. My name is Priya Larson, and I'm going to be presenting on antibacterial resistance. So I currently work in the lab, and antibacterial resistance is very common within clinical and hospital settings. So this is very relevant to where I work. So I'm going to start with the top middle photo, and it shows bacterial transformation. So what's happening in this photo is the bacteria is eating up, if you will, or transforming because they're eating these plasmids, and these plasmids contain antibiotic resistance genes. And so once this bacteria incorporates the antibiotic resistance genes, they are able to be resistant when they previously weren't. So to highlight this, it's referring back to Griffith's transformation experiment. So Griffith's experiment had R and S strains, and so the S, which stood for smooth, was virulent, and the R strain was non-virulent, standing for rough. And so the smooth bacteria were able to kill the mice, but the R were not. However, when you allowed the rough bacteria to pick up the virulence genes from the smooth bacteria, they were able to kill the mice. So an example of an antibiotic resistance is a beta-lactamase enzyme. So now I'm looking at the bottom picture here. And so beta-lactamase negatively affects the drug penicillin. So penicillin is in the beta-lactam family of antibiotics because it has this four-membered ring called the beta-lactam ring. And so beta-lactamase is an enzyme in bacteria that are resistant to penicillin. And what this enzyme does is it breaks this ring, and now penicillin is rendered useless. So these bacteria are resistant to traditional antibiotics. And so in the top right photo, we can see an MRSA infection. And so MRSA stands for methicillin-resistant Staph aureus. And so these infections can be very common in the hospital, and they're known as superbugs. And it's important to avoid any spreading of this bacteria. And it's also important that in order to treat this infection, we have to make sure not to use antibiotics that the bacteria are resistant to. So it's important to either have a combination or stronger antibiotics in order to fight these infections. And so finally, coming full circle, I'm going to refer to this image over here all the way to the left, and it says misuse of antibiotics puts us all at risk. So it's important, for one, that antibiotics aren't overprescribed or prescribed when they aren't necessary. And two, that if somebody does have antibiotics and they really do need it, that they need to finish their full prescribed dose so that they avoid any antibacterial resistance and bacteria to continue to thrive. So overall, I hope this video was super helpful, and thank you so much for watching.